Hi, today we're going to be using the Saber CNC router to do the graphics on the back of the clocks. First thing we need to do is open up Mastercam 2018, double click on it, and it's going to take a couple of seconds to open up here. Just like the smaller CNC, this is going to be a two-part process. The first thing we need to do is draw our 10 by 10 square. So we're going to start and work in that upper right-hand quadrant. Choose rectangle. And then we're going to come up and draw in the upper right-hand quadrant. Start our square. Then over on the left-hand side here, we're going to type in 10 on the width, 10 on the height, and hit the green check mark. At that point, we're going to go to View up in the toolbar and Zoom to Fit. Once we get that, we'll go back to Framework and look for Create Letters. I think I'm going to leave it, actually we'll change that to 1.5. If you've got a longer last name, you might want to leave it at 1 inch, just so you can get it all in there. Go up to our letters and type in your name. I'm going to go on 3 levels here. And the third level I'm going to put down is the date, or the year. At that point, I'm going to come across and select where I want my letters. And that looks pretty good, so I'm going to hit the green check mark. Now, we're not quite centered on the X, but we started this square at 10 by 10, and obviously the back of the clock isn't going to be 10 by 10, so I think I'm just going to leave it where it is and we can trim it out afterwards. Our next step is to start our toolpath. So we need to go to Machine and then to Router and choose our Saber. Next, under Properties, we'll go to File and go to Replace. Choose Saber there. Open it. Make sure that it changes up under Description. And hit the green check mark. And it should say Saber next to Properties up above. Next, we'll set up our stock setup. And it's going to be 10 inches. By 10 inches by 1/8 inch. And we also want to move our origin to the lower left front corner. At that point we can hit the check mark and we're ready for our toolpath. Now we're just going to be tracing out those letters, so we can go to Contour, and I'm going to choose the window, put a window around our letters, and it's asking for the approximate start position, and you can go pretty much any place on the piece from there. And then we come down and hit our check mark. Now we need to go to Tool and select our tool. There's a 1/4 inch bit in there right now, so that's what I'm going to choose. Cut parameters. We want to turn cut parameters off so that the tool bit cuts right on the line. Depth of cut, we could pretty much leave where it is, but I'm going to just change it to 0.03 because that's as deep as we're going to be going. Come down to lead in and lead out. We're going to shut that off because we want to cut right on the line. We don't want it going into the line at all. Breakthrough, multipass, and tabs we don't need to touch. We can just go straight to linking parameters. Under retract, go absolute and change that to 1 inch. We can leave the feed plane alone. Top of the stock, we want to go to absolute and change that to 0.125. And for depth, we want to go to absolute and change that to 0.03. At that point, we can hit our check mark. And if you look back over in the toolpath tree, if there are no X's, we can go on to our back plotting. If there are X's, you want to find the regenerate all dirty operations and hit that check, and it should take the check marks out of that, or the X's off of the out of the tree. From there, we go to the verify selection and wait for that to open up. Then you want to go to view and isometric, and you want to turn that simulator down quite a bit so you can actually see what's going on. Come down below, hit the play button, and if you want to speed it up at this point, you can go right ahead and speed it up. And basically what we're looking for here is any crashes. If you're happy with the simulation, you come and get me, and I'll check it, and then we're ready to make our toolpath. X out of the verifier, and come back up to the toolpath tree, and look for G1 for our post-processor. Click on G1. You're going to get the post-processing window. Make sure the NC file is checked. ASC is highlighted. Edit is highlighted. And it should be NC extension. If the NCI file is checked, uncheck it. And then hit the green check mark. It's going to ask you to rename your piece. And you also want to put it on the desktop. And hit save. Once the G code pops up, in the first few lines you're going to see a command of M3. That's for a tool changer. We don't have a tool changer, so just go in and delete that code and then hit save. And that's all you'll need to do as far as laying out your graphics. Close out the G code. Minimize the Mastercam, and you're ready to go to the Shop Saber CNC, set up the router.